Hi, welcome to Santosha Rose. My name's Sam, and today our practice is going to be about creativity. I'm excited to share it with you. See you on the mat. We're going to start our practice today lying on our backs. So make your way down to your back, feet just a little bit wider than hip width apart, palms facing up to the ceiling. Now we're just going to take a couple of breaths here to settle into our practice for today. So just allowing yourself to relax, to release, feeling that safety and security of being held by the earth. And just taking a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And feeling that sensation of relaxation in the body. And we're going to have a bit of a playful practice today with our theme of creativity. So allowing yourself to tap into that playful, creative energy that we all have inside us. We're going to bring the knees into the chest. Have a little squeeze, maybe wrap your arms around your legs, take a little rock from side to side. Just starting to wake up the body, wake up the spine. And then you're going to take your hands on top of your kneecaps. And we're going to take some circles. So keeping the feet together, I'm going to open up the knees using the hands and pushing the knees away from us in a nice circle and coming back together. So it's feet stay together and doing this circling movement with the knees as they come apart and then back together, and then they come back in towards your body and apart and circling round, just starting to open up the hips nice and gently though to start with. And then taking those circles in the other direction, so pushing the knees away when they're together, opening them up as you bring them back in towards your body. Both knees doing a semicircle, creating that full circle between them. And keeping the toes, the big toes touching, and keeping your whole upper body relaxed. Notice if you've got any tension in your jaw or in your face, and just let that go. And then keeping the knees, the legs together, we're going to take both knees to the right, doing some circles. So it's the same motion, feeling that movement through the spine, but both knees going in the same direction this time. So circling to the right. And notice if you've speeded up, can you slow it down a little bit here? And then taking the circles to the left. And be mindful of your spine on the floor. So keeping the whole spine on the floor. Just circle into this lower back, starting to wake it up a little bit. Fabulous. Okay. Going to cross the ankles over. If you can, reaching onto the outside of your feet. If not, just holding onto your legs. We're going to do some rocking up and down the spine. So 3 times, nice big rocks. Feeling that massage in the spine. And then we're going to come up into either a cross-legged pose, just cross-legged normally with your ankles, We can bring 2 ankles into a row. It's this cross-legged easy pose. And we're just gonna take a few breaths here to ground down. So feeling that sense of heaviness in the legs, that grounding down through the sitting bones. We're going to reach up through the spine, through the crown of your head, as if you were being lifted up by that invisible cord. And see if you can combine that with a sense of relaxation in the shoulders. So taking a couple of breaths here. Imagine you're inhaling from your sitting bones all the way up to the crown of your head, and exhaling all the way back down that straight spine, back into the ground. Fabulous. Okay, so crossing your legs so that your right leg is in front. You're going to leave the left foot where it is and lift the right leg up off the floor. And there's a couple of different options here. We have our theme of creativity, so no pressure. Let's just have a little bit of a play. Really important thing here is that we want to have a nice flexed ankle, so that protects the knee. That's the most important part. And we have some options. So you can take your left hand onto the sole of your right foot and maybe your right hand onto your right knee. And either kind of keeping it where it is here, or you might want to start lifting that left foot up a little bit and feeling that stretch all the way down your thigh into your glutes here. So choose what's good for you. Maybe you want your foot to be a little bit lower down. Maybe you can lift that foot a little bit. You'll find as you lift the foot, you'll feel that stretch in the muscles there even more. Keeping a nice flexed foot so we're protecting that knee. So if this feels like this is good for you, you can keep the hands on the sole of the foot and the knee. Other options you have here, you can take the right elbow round the right knee, so in that little crook there. And if your body does this, not everybody's body does this, but you can take the left elbow round the foot. So you kind of create, it's called cradling the baby, rocking the baby. And it gives you a little bit of a hint about what we're going to do next. So choose the position that's right for you. Maybe it's just hands on foot and hands on knee, maybe with one arm, maybe with both arms wrapped around, keeping that foot nice and engaged and feeling that stretch through this glute muscle here. Then keeping the upper body as still as you possibly can. Just going to take some gentle rocks, so opening in the hip and then closing the hip back in with that foot. So wherever you are, opening in the hip, closing the hip back through. And it wants to be nice and gentle, so no pushing or straining here. And like I say, rather than moving your upper body as well, you get a lot more benefit if you can keep the upper body still and we're really isolating that glute muscle. And just have a play here, keeping that foot nice and flexed, maybe imagining that you are sawing a piece of wood and feeling that openness coming in the hip. Fabulous. Okay, bringing that leg back down. And we're going to bring that heel in, bring the other leg out. I'm going to do the same on the other side. So flexing in that toe first of all, really important. Holding on to the left foot now with the right hand, maybe having the left hand on the left knee. So the first thing we want to do, pulling those toes back, is lift up that foot and just experiment with that. How high does it want to lift? What feels good for your body today? And then you may be taking that left knee into the crook of the left elbow. And if it's right for your body, you can take the left foot into the right elbow there. And if you do this variation, you'll feel straight away that real sense of stretch there. And then keeping the upper body as still as possible, keeping the left toes flexed, we're going to rock the baby. So very gently just opening up the hip and then closing it back off again and really feeling that lovely sense of stretch through your glutes. And this can be quite a playful one. And then very gently we're going to bring the leg back down and just straightening both of the legs out in front of you. Just going to take a little bit of a shake up and down with the knees, right and left with the knees. Fabulous. Okay. Keeping the legs nice and stretched out, lifting up through the spine. So keeping that really nice straight spine. Just going to take a couple of ankle and wrist rotations here. So having a little bit of a gap between the legs, bring the hands in front. I'm just going to take some circles, the ankles and wrists. And see if you can keep your legs and your arms as still as possible. So we're really isolating the movement into ankles and wrists. And then taking them in the other direction. And don't worry if there's little cracking noises. As long as there's no pain, it's all good. Starting to bring that movement into the joints. Fabulous. Okay. I'm going to bring the feet in towards the body, bending the legs and bringing the soles of the feet together. So just check in with your body here. What feels good? Maybe you want to have the heels quite close into you. If you want to have a little bit more of a space between, just see what feels good for your body today. We've got some options with the hands, so you can maybe bring the hands around the toes, on the back of the feet, maybe around the ankles. Just experiment with that and see what feels good. Now have that lovely sense of lift still through the spine. So really keeping that awareness, that nice straight spine, the lift through the crown of the head and the relaxation down through the shoulders. And we're going to take some butterfly posture with butterfly flapping wings. So imagining that your legs, we've got some imagination in here, are like the wings of a butterfly. You can choose the point that feels best for your hands to be on. And we're just going to take some slight movements as if it was that kind of flapping of butterfly wings. So up and down a little bit, quite fast, but not too strong, not too kind of aggressive with it, of just up and down, opening up through the hip flexors. And just feeling that movement, bringing in muscles, bringing in that flexibility. And then bringing the knees to stillness. You're going to reach both arms up to the ceiling. Reaching up, feeling that sense of lift. Going to inhale, lifting up through the arms, and exhale, we're going to fold forward. So keeping the feet where they are, and just see where you get to here. You might be just on the fingers, just on the floor in front of you. You might feel like you can reach a little bit further in front. Maybe the elbows come down. If you're super flexible, you might be getting your forehead towards the floor. Just see what feels good for your body today. And be feeling this stretch in the hip flexors. And see if you can relax into this stretch here. So just using the breath to relax, to release. You might find that with each breath, you maybe want to go a little bit lower. You might find that where you are is just perfect. So listen to your body here. See what feels good for you. And then we're going to very slowly start walking the hands back in. So if you've reached the hands away, walk the hands back into your body. And again, we're going to bring the hands onto the back of the knees to bring the knees up and together first. And straightening out the legs, we're going to take that little knees up and down and side to side just to feel that sense of release in the hips. Fabulous. Okay, you're going to open the legs up this time. So in a nice straddle position. Now don't worry about trying to get your legs super wide. They don't have to be very wide for this, so just see what's good for your body. And having that sense of lift again. So as we do different things with our legs, we'll maybe find that we might start to have a bit of a collapsing in the back. So can you keep the back nice and straight, keeping that lift through the crown, relaxing down through the shoulders? It's going to be a little bit of a theme. Okay, I'm going to take the hands just into a clasp position. You can imagine for this one that you're holding a giant wooden spoon, because we're going to be stirring a pot. So starting quite slowly. So imagine that you're just doing some small circles with your hands on an imaginary pot that you've got in the floor in front of you. So your body's kind of moving as you stir the pot, allowing your body to go with the movements this time. And then start to gradually make those circles a little bit bigger. So as you're coming back, you can come back, going over to one side, reaching forward, and just with each circle, making it a little bit bigger. Until you can feel you're kind of stretching a little bit more, reaching a little bit more, until you get to the point where you're reaching out, arms straight, going as wide as you possibly can with these circles. It's now a really big pot that we're stirring. And then next time you come to an upright position, we're going to swap the clasp of the hands. So releasing the fingers and then swapping it over so the other thumb is on top, which will feel a little bit weird because we normally do everything the same way. And we're going to start this time with the biggest circles in the other direction. So starting the other way to the way that you came the first time and going as big as you possibly can to start off with. So reaching right over, reaching forward, and then coming back and then back. And then we're going to gradually decrease those circles. So starting to make the circles a little bit smaller each time. Have a smaller pot. Until we finish coming to stillness. Fabulous. Okay, releasing with the hands. We're going to bend the left leg in, bringing the heel in towards the center. And reaching both arms, coming up to the ceiling. We're going to come behind, so bringing the left hand behind, the right hand onto the left leg, and just take a little bit of a twist, just quite a gentle twist here. And then we're going to come back, reaching up to center, and then twisting our body so we're facing towards the right leg. So we've moved the hips, facing towards the right leg, reaching up on the inhale, and then on the exhale, we're going to fold forward down that foot. And see what's good for your body here. If you need to take a bit of a bend in the knee, that's no problem at all. Maybe you'll be reaching your knee, your shin. Maybe you can reach all the way to the foot. And feeling that stretch all the way through the side of your body here. And we can use the breath to inhale, lengthen the spine, and exhale, finding a little bit more fold. And using your own breath here. And then slowly bringing your hands up your leg. So you're uncurling the back slowly. And then we're going to stretch that left leg back out, bending the right leg in and working on the other side. So we're going to reach up first, arms coming up to the ceiling, and then we're going to twist. So bring the right arm behind the left hand to the right leg, taking that little bit of a twist there, and then inhaling, coming back to the center, twisting so we're facing down our left leg, and then inhale, reaching up, and exhale, folding forward over that left leg. And using the breath here, so inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, finding that fold down the left leg. inhaling, bringing the hands back up the leg, uncurling through the spine. And we're going to bring both legs up so that they're about the width of your mat apart. And we're just going to take some windscreen wiper movements here. So just taking the legs over to one side, back into the middle, and over to the other side. Just feeling that nice sense of release in the hips. Fabulous. Okay. So keeping the feet where they are, we're going to take the knees over to the right hand side and allowing your body to twist round this time. So your weight is on your right hip here. And then if it feels good for your body, maybe bringing that foot a little bit further forward so that you've got a nice straight line. So the right leg is kind of parallel with the top end of your mat. Going to inhale, reaching the arms up to the ceiling, and then exhale, folding forward towards that leg. So you maybe are just kind of folding, might be onto your fingertips here. Maybe you can get your palms down, maybe even coming down to the elbows. I'm really feeling that sense of stretch in the right glutes. And you can use the breath here. Now, if you want to make it a bit more intense, you can bring that foot up a little bit. If you want to make it a little bit less intense, you can bring the foot down. So using this right leg to sort of guide how much of a glute stretch you want to have here. And seeing if you can find an element of relaxation in this posture. So inhaling and exhaling, can you let go? Can you release a little bit more? And taking one more full cycle of breath here. And then if you've reached out forward, you're going to slowly walking the hands back in and bringing the knees back up, coming to neutral position at the front. And then we're going to take it to the other side. So taking the knees over to the left hand side this time and twisting the body so that you're facing towards that left leg. And again, decide what you want to do with this foot. So you might want to leave it where it is. You might want to straighten it up a little bit to create that sort of right angle posture there. And if that feels really intense, then you can bring it in a little bit more. And we're going to reach arms up, lengthening through the spine, and then folding forward. So maybe just coming onto your fingertips, maybe onto your palms, maybe onto your elbows here. And again, using this the left leg this time. So if you want to have a little bit more stretch, you can bring that up so that it's completely creating that right angle in the knee. And just taking a few breaths here. Inhaling, and on that exhale, seeing if you can find a little bit of a release. And then we're going to slowly walk the hands back into the center. And then bringing the knees back up. We're going to cross the legs over, reaching forward, and we're going to come into a tabletop position. So take a second here to check in with your alignment. So you want shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, knees just hip width apart or maybe a tiny bit wider. And see if you can have that sense of lift of your front body coming in towards your spine. So slightly drawing in with the navel, feeling a spaciousness between your ears and your shoulders. So you're not dumping down into your arms and kind of collapsing here. It's still an active posture, feeling that sense of sucking in a little bit of the front body in towards the spine. Now we're going to take some cat-cow postures here. So bringing the tummy down, lifting the head up, coming into a cow posture, and then pressing through the hands, rounding through the spine, bringing the head in towards the chest, into the cat. And syncing these postures up with the breath. So we're going to inhale, bringing the tummy down and the head up. And exhale, navel into the spine, head coming into the chest. And doing a couple of these postures in time to your own breath. Feeling that nice sense of movement through the spine. And I'd like to invite you to be creative here. So you can keep going with the cat-cow if that feels good. Maybe take a more exaggerated cat-cow. So as you round through the spine, maybe taking the heels, hips back towards the heels, and then you can scoot forward as if you were rolling a ball with your nose. So like pushing that along the mat, coming forward, bringing the tummy down a little bit, lifting the head up, and then coming back through that curved back, sending the hips back. And maybe imagining that you do have that ball that you're pushing with your nose. And maybe doing a couple of rounds of this if that's feeling good. Having that little bit more movement, a little bit of creativity. Maybe you want to take some figure of 8 movements. So coming that circle over the wrists at the front, then switching the direction, taking the hips back into a circle behind. That infinity sign, that 8 sign. And feel really nice that you've got that movement happening in your body. And if you're taking figure of 8 signs, switching the direction now so that you're evening out, doing them in both directions. And it's always quite nice in a home practice to have a little bit of a play. See what feels good for you. You can maybe take the hips in some circles. Just making sure that anything that you do in one direction or on one side, you do on the other, keeping it nice and balanced. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to take the hips back now into a child's pose. So an extended child's pose, stretching the arms out in front. And if this feels not too restful, you can take some cushions or blankets and put them sort of underneath your legs, in between your legs. If the head doesn't come naturally to the floor, you can again maybe use your fists or use your hands as a little bit of a pillow for your head to rest on. So have a play with this one. What do you need to do to make this posture feel a little bit more relaxing for you? And do that. And then reaching the arms back in front. You're going to come back up into that tabletop position. So checking your alignment first of all. And then we're going to bring the elbows down to where the palms are. So bring the left elbow down to where the right hand is. The left hand, and then right elbow to where right hand is. Both arms reaching out in front, nice wide palms. You've got those train track legs happening there. Keeping the sitting bones lifting up towards the ceiling and taking the knees back just a little bit here so that we can open up in the shoulders. So keeping the hips pressing up to the ceiling, I'm going to bring the head, the chest down towards the mat. It's a puppy posture here. Feeling that stretch in the shoulders. That sense of lift coming up through the sitting bones. And then you're going to bring your weight back into your elbows, into your arms, and then bringing the hips down to the mat. And check in here that you've not collapsed down through your shoulders, through your chest. So it's a nice upright, alert posture, lifting up, gaze facing forwards. So this is our Sphinx posture. And we know of the Sphinx from the mythical beast in the story of Oedipus. And the Sphinx had some riddles. And one of the good riddles for yoga is that there are two sisters, and each sister gives birth to the other sister. What are the sisters? And the answer to the riddle is that the sisters are day and night, which is quite good. The idea of cycles in yoga, which is cool. Fabulous. Okay, I'm going to release down, bringing the elbows out, bringing the hands one on top of each other, and bringing the head down into that crocodile posture, and just releasing in the spine. You can bring your big toes together, send your ankles out, and just maybe taking a little rock from side to side on your hips a couple of times, and then allowing yourself to release into the mat, feeling that stability, that security of the floor underneath you, and just noticing how breathing feels lying on your tummy. And then bringing your feet back so that your legs are parallel to each other. You're going to bring the hands underneath the shoulders. You're going to push up, coming through knees, tuck the toes, and we're going to come up into a downward facing dog. So be nice and gentle here. Maybe you want to pedal out one foot, the other foot. Maybe have some playfulness in this posture. How can you make this posture feel good today? So maybe kind of looking under one armpit, looking under the other, having that sense of movement in the shoulders. And then maybe coming to a little bit of stillness. I want to have that sense of lift up through the hip bones. So you maybe want to come up onto your tiptoes, bend in the knees a little bit, and see if you can send the hips even higher up to the ceiling. And then over time, maybe straightening those legs, maybe bringing the heels in the direction of the floor. But that can be something we're working towards over time. Pressing down through the fingers on both palms, and lifting up. And then we're going to come up onto the tiptoes, bending the knees down to the floor and sending the hips back into either an extended child's pose if that feels good, or maybe bringing the hands towards the feet and just curling up. And taking a couple of breaths here in a nice relaxing posture. And maybe allowing yourself to think about if you had that playfulness, that creativity in the practice so far. Been able to let go of striving to be a bit curious. Now we're going to come up onto our knees, going to take our feet to one side, coming into a nice sitting position and coming a little bit forward on the mat so you've got some space behind you. And we're going to lift the legs, lift the feet up off the floor. And bringing the hands behind you, fingers facing towards the hips. And maybe we may want to just stay here. If this is feeling quite comfortable, you want to have a little bit more challenge. If you want to lift the feet up into that parallel line against the floor, if that's still feeling really easy, and let go with the hands. You're going to hold this boat posture here. Engaging through the core, using that breath. Hold it for 3, 2, you're doing great, and 1. Bringing the legs back down, the hands behind, and we're just going to open up in the shoulders a little bit. So just feeling, almost imagining that your chest was going up towards the sky, just opening up in the shoulders there. And then I'm going to come back. Can again choose those 3 options. So maybe feet just up off the floor, maybe legs a little bit higher. We're going to have a little bit of movement in it this time. So choose where you want your legs to be. And then we're going to reach the hands towards the left hand side of the mat. So they might not completely reach the floor. Don't worry if they don't. We're coming in that direction. We're going to reach arms up to the ceiling and then coming down to the left hand side. Reaching arms up. Sorry, that was to the right. So back to the left. Reaching up again and to the right. I'll do one more time on each side. Reaching up, coming to the left. Back up to the centre and then down to the right. Fabulous. And then coming back into the centre. I'm going to bring the feet down. Planting the feet on the floor. Reaching the arms in front, and then we're going to slowly, with control, engaging through the core, coming down to the mat. So curling through the spine, bringing yourself slowly down to that lying position, and just allowing your shoulders, your head, everything to come down to the floor. Fabulous. Okay, we're going to bend the knees up. I'm going to cross the right leg over the left. So if you can, crossing at your thighs here. And so we've got the kind of cow face posture, legs happening here. Now see what works for your body. So maybe you want to take hold of your shins. That might feel like that's the best place for you to be holding. Potentially you might want to come down so that you're nearer the bottom of your feet. If it works for your body, you can take your hands to the outer edges of the other feet, so the opposite feet. So just have a play with that, see what works for you. And then we're going to just gently bringing the feet or the legs, whatever we're holding on to, just in towards the body. So feeling that stretch through the right glute. And allowing it to be nice and gentle. Nice and easy, no forcing movements here. And then releasing with the hands, we're going to send the arms out wide. And then we're going to tip the legs over to the left hand side. So using your core muscles, keeping that sense of control. You can bring them over, keeping the right shoulder on the floor. So feeling that sense of twist. And you can either keep your head facing up to the ceiling, maybe take your gaze down the right arm. Feeling that lovely sense of twist through the body. Taking one more full cycle of breath here. And then bringing the head back to center. Engaging through the core muscles, going to bring the legs back up. And then uncrossing the legs, and then we're going to cross them the other way. So left leg on top this time. And again, maybe taking the outer edges of your shins just above your ankles. Maybe you can reach the outer edges of your feet. And then just gently bring that little bit of pressure onto the feet, feeling that stretch in the left glute. And allowing your breath to go to any places that feel tight here. And then we're going to release the feet or the legs with the arms. Take the arms out wide. We're going to take the legs over to the right hand side this time. It's keeping that left shoulder on the floor. So upper body stays straight, lower body is twisting, and then maybe taking your gaze over to your left hand. And taking some breaths here. Maybe allowing yourself to relax into this posture a little bit. And then bringing the head back to center, engaging through the core. We're going to lift the legs back up, uncrossing the legs, bringing the feet down towards the floor. We're going to send the legs out, one leg, the other leg, a little bit wider than our yoga mat. Palms facing up to the ceiling, and allowing yourself to just relax here. And take one more full cycle of breath together. Inhaling. Going to exhale through the mouth, just sigh it out. You can bring the palms in front of our chest. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste, everyone.
Thanks so much for sharing your practice with me today. If you enjoyed it, do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know how you found it in the comments below. See you again soon.